Alright, let's start. Today we'll discuss about a repository, one of the repositories. So you already seen one kind of repository, GitHub, where we store our code, we manage them, and we have multiple versions of them. We pull it, we resolve the conflicts. So the point is there is the main points is like GitHub will store their multiple versions of our code so that it's easy to manage, as well as like you can go back to old versions easily if there is some issue with it. Another one is it's in a common place where everyone can able to access. Let's say if someone want to access the code which you have written, so you can't simply send from your laptop. So even it'll be good to have in a common place. Same thing here also in current scenario. Let's say you have your Maven project for it. So now we have this jar file artifact or build in anything. Other team members want to use this. How do you do it? How do you share them? Through mail or through Teams or something like that? But not a good approach, right? To how many people you will send that? You can't send that like that. You can't send like that. So this also you have to keep in a common place. Where we keep it. There are some kind of repositories we can able to use to store these files. Correct? Similarly as GitHub. Storing artifacts also there are repositories. Those are called JFrog and Nexus. JFrog and Nexus. So you can use any of this. It does not really, change much. I mean, there's not much difference between them. So here in our class, I mean, we use Nexus and we create our repositories. We store artifacts. Let's see how this works. This is the overall, why the repository is required for artifacts, so that everyone can able to store, everyone can able to share the artifacts between the teams. It can be between the developers or within the organization. Whoever wants it, they'll simply pull from the repository, just like GitHub. So all we have to do is we have to install the tool and we have to create our repositories. That's it. So there will be endpoint URL for the repository. You have to use that in order to push and pull. Got it? So let's see how, how to install this Nexus. So obviously, Nexus also depends on Java. So Java is required. We have Java already. So Java. So no need to do anything. Now, what we have to do is we have to download the Nexus tar file from the internet. So it has Pro also and open source also. When we don't have Pro license and also we have to use open source. The Unix archive. This is the file, latest one 3. Java 17. Obviously, we have this. Copy link. Mhm. It's downloading. Yeah, it's downloaded. Now untar it. So this is the folder. Let me move the, I mean, rename that folder and let me move this to OPT, a common place. If you remember, uh, SonarQube. So SonarQube we cannot run as a root user, right? So we have to run as a normal user. Before that, we have to change the ownership and everything. Similarly here also. So we cannot run Nexus as a root user. So what we have to do first, we have to change the ownership. As a normal user, you have to run. So in my system, Ubuntu is the normal user. Or you can create your own user. You can add the, I mean, change the ownership to that user also. There's nothing, no wrong in that. There are two folders, which one after I extracted, there are two folders. So just changing the ownership to those two folders. So Ubuntu. So next, let's go to Nexus folder. This is the content. The first folder is bin. This is where Nexus executable file is present. If you see green color, this executable file, just like Sonar dataset. This is the RC. Let's open this RC. So here there is only one line. So we have to tell this as which user we are running the Nexus in Nexus.rc file. I'm running as Ubuntu user. So Ubuntu. That's it. Now saved. So in bin we have to change in Nexus.rc file that uh, as which user we are running. So first, usually the line will be commented. You have to uncomment that and you have to give you user. That's it. Now let's go to bin again. Let's open our executable file. So there's nothing. Let's go to etc. The Nexus default.properties is the configuration file. Let's open it. There's a port number. What is the Nexus port number? 8081 it seems. So you can change it if you want, obviously. So host is 0.0.0 means it is once you allow the firewalls and everything, you can access from anywhere, from outside, I mean to say. So let's keep all this the same for now. I mean, let's keep the port number is same. We don't want to change it. Now what we have to do is just run it as Ubuntu user. Now to opt nexus bin nexus start. That's it. Starting nexus status. Nexus is running it. Let's access. How to access? So our port number is 8081. So I'm just allowing the firewall. This part is AWS, that would discuss later. Just for now, I'm just allowing the firewall. That's it. Mm, mhm, yes, 8081. Let's see. See, it's opening. Let's see. Let's wait until it's load. Yeah, this is the Nexus page. But you have to log in first. Here, if you sign in. And the default is admin. Yeah, or you can see here the password. It gave you the file where the password will be present. Let's simply open this file. Cat, it's just a file, right? So you can see the password. Sorry, something. Some random. This is the. Just copy this. Paste it. Username is admin. Obviously, it's showing there. Your admin user password is located in here. So I just copy it from here and sign in. And obviously, you have to change the password now. See? Change of anything. I mean, so access page. So this is your Nexus repository. What I'm saying? It's okay. It's if you are less it seems. And that's fine, no worries. This is how you install the Nexus repository. It's simple. I mean, first thing is make sure Java is required. That's the platform. So obviously we have Java. Next thing is we have to download the tar file from official website. You can download from here. So now type Nexus. It's is the name of, let's say, the, the open source, the company which it's maintaining. So Sonotype Nexus usually they call it. So I download the Unix. I mean, this is our thing. I download this tar file and I kept in OTP. Sorry, OPT. Why? Because it's a common place, right? So where normal users can also access, because this Nexus we have to run as a normal user. So and what I did, I extracted obviously in OPT, and in OPT in Nexus bin directory there is something called the nexus.rc file that we have to, in that file there is an option called a variable called run as user. Means you have to tell Sonar that as which user we are running this. Either you create your own user or use the existing normal user. Since I have normal user, so I use Ubuntu. We have another user, let's test or something. We can use that. And once that is done, I change the ownership to, I mean, the ownership of Nexus directory to normal user. I mean Ubuntu in my case. Then I ran it. I ran it. So there is a executable file called Nexus. Just like sonar.sh, we have similar case here, Nexus. So simply ran it with start argument. Where is this? Yep, it started. I check the status. It's running. Now I got once we open the Nexus with the 8081 port, that's the default port. It will show you where the password is. So once you open the file with cat, you will see the password for the application. Do remember Ubuntu at this is not a password until before Ubuntu only, because it's a user and host name. That's how we see in here, right? It came like that. That's it. Or simply you can open this file with VI also. Let's open it. Let's see. There's nothing now because you changed the password already, so the file will be deleted. It's only one time. But you can open it with VI also without confusion. So that's it about installation of Nexus. So is it okay so far? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Others? Others, is it clear? Okay. So let's move to next. So next is repositories. So that's what Nexus is used for. Otherwise, there is no use for this. So as we discussed, right? So why we are installing the Nexus? Because to store our artifacts, obviously. So now we'll see what are those repositories, how to create them, and after that we'll see how to store the artifacts in that. Let's see. So this is the page, and you can see the settings option on top. Just click on that. You'll see few things here. You can see in the repositories. Let's just click on this. These are some repositories. It's in default. So see some Maven repository, Maven Central, Maven Plug, blah blah something. Let's forget about this. First, we'll talk about how many types of repositories are there. If you observe there, I mean, there are so many repositories, but if you see the types, there are only two here. See, sorry, three: proxy, group, hosted, hosted, group, hosted, proxy. Only three are there. What is this? I mean, like these are the types of repositories. I mean, Nexus provides three types of repositories. You can use whichever you want based on the requirement. Let's discuss what are those kinds of repositories, how it will be useful for us. The first one is hosted. Sorry, hosted repository. It means which created by us, which where we are storing our artifacts, our own artifacts. It's called hosted repository. So we build our thing. I mean, our code and everything. We got artifact. Now we want to store it. Where we store it? We store it in hosted repositories. Got it? Now let's see what is proxy repository. What is the type proxy means is. See, if you observe here, this best example, Maven Central Proxy. So what's happening here is we creating our own repository so that if someone want to access the central Maven Central repository, the request will go through this repository. So users have to use this one instead of Central. So it's like proxying the request from this proxy repository to the central repository instead of directly accessing the central. That's about proxy. Let's say you have some repository somewhere, maybe outside of internet somewhere, and you don't want anyone to access the directly. So you want to access that repository through something. Let's talk about it. What is that something? It can be your own repository. So at the time you create this proxy repository. So this proxy, what happens? Takes the request and send the request to the original repository where it is. The example is here, Maven Central. So here it's a default repo which they have created. So they have created a proxy repository. Here the request will be forwarded to Maven Central repository, obviously. correct? This is also, if you see, this is the repo URL, correct? This is, which they have created in Nexus. The request, if the request comes to this repo, it will forward to this repo, which is some Maven Central, instead of directly accessing it. Why we need this? We can simply access it, right? As I told you, security purpose. We don't want to access the internet every time directly. So there will be a proxy everywhere in every organization. So where the request will go through that only. Got it? So that's about proxy repository. So it's like one thing is hosted repository where we create by ourselves. We create everything, but where we use it so to store our artifacts. That is hosted repository, and proxy is we're proxying the request to another repository wherever it's present through this repository. That's called proxy. Next, obviously, group. You know what is group? Grouping of multiple repositories into one. Let's example like I have a hosted repository as well as proxy repository. Two repositories are there. It means what is my scenario? When I do Maven build, it will go to local, it will go to central, it will go to remote also if it is in central not there. So this is the requirement, right? So I have two URLs now. Instead of that, simply I'll create a group with these two, central and remote. So what happens is within the same repository, my hosted repository is there, my proxy is there. Both are there. So it will look into both as a group. If you see here, Maven Snapshot Central, all these things, they created a single repository. The repository URL is this, a grouping repository simply. They're keeping multiple, repos together. That's it. Got it. So any doubts so far? About what types of repositories Nexus provides? What are the uses of those?
Anna, proxy is like first our request will go to proxy will go to Maven Central, and from Maven
Eh,
Central comes.
It will come to proxy again and to our server. So there is no
Okay,
direct
okay,
request will go to central repository because there is proxy in between. Central,
okay,
I just took an example since it's already here. But any repository, let's say you remember Nginx, I told you. Nginx. So Nginx, there will be backend
yes,
servers. We configure the reverse proxy. It means the request comes there to Nginx level, and from Nginx it will go inside. Similarly here also. So proxy repositories, we have to use this proxy URL. Why? Because we're not directly accessing the whatever the repository in behind. But, through proxy only we're accessing it. So
okay, okay,
that's the point. So we don't want to access that directly.
okay, okay.
Got it?
Yes, son.
Any other
Okay,
doubts?
no, no.
Others? So is it clear about types of repositories, and what are the uses of them? Is it clear?
Yes, son.
Yes. So yeah, now we can create our own repositories. So first, our case, we want to store our artifacts. Let's create a first hosted repositories. Got it? Just simply click on create repository. See, there are so many types available, so many kinds of repositories. What we want to Maven. See, Maven. Group proxy hosted. If you see Docker also there's something. Go something, Helm something, APT, Ra, Yum. See, Yum repos also there. In Yum repos is what you store. You store these. what is it called? Configurations, right? We show the repo configs, base configs, whatever we wrote. See, so many of them. So what our requirement? Maven hosted, right? We want to create or Maven proxy. We have three things. Let's start one by one. So we want to use Maven hosted. We call it. What is the name? It's a self prep or something. Or simply you can change whatever the name you can keep. Yeah, prepo. And this is fine. Version policy it is asking. See, is it release snapshot, release repo, or snapshot repo? Yesterday. So release repo, sorry, snapshot repo is where we'll have regular snapshots, regular development cycles will happen. So at the time there will be multiple builds for every change. So you want to store those snapshots or you want to store release snapshots. In generally in organizations, they'll create both repositories. One is snapshot, one is release. Snapshot is where they'll push it regularly. I mean, uh, release means whatever they want to release the artifacts, they want to keep it in release repo. So we'll create both. No worries. Let's create snapshot. I think that's it. Let's create. There is our MyApp tree. MyApp posted. We got it. This is the repo URL we have to use. We have to use anywhere like in Maven or anywhere in order to push the artifacts to this. This is snapshot repo. I mean, Maven hosted snapshot. Let's create the same thing with a release. Maven hosted. This is the name. Release. That's it. Simply create. See, yeah, this one. Sorry. So this is the URL. URL is nothing but the Nexus URL, repository slash the repo name, whichever you give. That's it. Now I can create simply anything. Hmm. Let's say I want to create a proxy. Any name. Proxy test something. See, you have to give the URL to which you want to proxy it. It can be central repo, it can be anything, wherever you kept it. You can give the URL here. So then now the proxy repo will be created. That's it. Just simply click on create. That's it. Now I want to create a group also. Similar thing. Group. I want to group. Test the group. Here see which repos you want to add, which members you want to add. I want to add this one and this one. Let's say together as a group. Simply create it. Now group repository also created. It means two repositories into one. You're not merging it, you're just grouping it. That's it. So now what our case, we have to use these repositories in our Maven code in order to push the artifacts. It means we have to integrate this Nexus into Maven. Got it? That don't worry, that we'll see tomorrow. But for now, today, so installation and creating repositories, types of repositories. So remember that. So is it clear so far?
Yes, son.
So yeah. So I'll share the document. So do so do practice this until installation create our own repositories. Tomorrow we'll see how to integrate Maven with Maven and how to push our artifacts here. Now let's see how to search our artifacts once we pushed. So the settings option is to create the repositories. This one browse option is to look into our repository content. This is our repositories, correct? Let's click one thing. There's nothing. Let's go to another thing. If there is anything, maybe next option. All are empty. That's okay. We'll push one and I'll show you how to. We'll push tomorrow and we'll see. Okay. You can upload from here simply. But only these are available. That's okay. We'll see tomorrow. Got it? Is it clear so
Yes,
far?
son.
So I shared the
Yes,
document.
son.
Install and create the repositories. Make it ready by tomorrow. Then we'll see. Got it? Yeah.
Yes, son.
Okay then. Have a nice day.